What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Welcome to At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and more. And there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about, from new releases to Ahsoka and all kinds of stuff. But before we get into any of that, check this out. It's Paul.
Hey, that's me. That's Mark.
Cut to Paul. What is happening, Paul? How are you tonight?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you tonight?
I'm really good. I'm really excited. There's a brand new DC Deep Dive promo that drops tomorrow. Tomorrow's Labor Day, and we're at the end of Night Terror. So there's a brand new promo that drops tomorrow with all kinds of great information. What time is that happening?
It will be in our normal time slot at 10 a.m. on Monday, tomorrow morning.
And just as a reminder to everybody, there's a special live deep dive this Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Massive, crazy giveaways, fun hangout. So if you're a fan of Night Terrors, or if you didn't read it and want to hear about it, that would be the place to be, and even get a chance to get your own copy of the event itself. So check out that little promo. It's just a couple minutes long, 10 a.m. tomorrow. So check out Sector's channel. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that video, and you can win yourself like a massive Night Terrors giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go any farther, let me go ahead and hit the shout outs to Big Time Collectibles. Be sure to check them out at their website and follow them on social medias. Don't miss out on the awesome stuff they're doing. They just sent out their first month gold member boxes, which I opened mine on the channel last week. It was super dope. There's been a couple other people that have posted them, including DJ Link. So that's something to consider. And if you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up my friend Justin on Instagram. Let him know you found him via the channel. Take advantage of the special offers that he runs. The links to all those fine people and more in the description of all my videos. And as always, a huge shout out to ABX Comics and Games, where I pick up all my books every week. And announcements. This is the first Sunday of the month. So that means we're drawing for the Legion Loot winner tonight. The monthly prize, a way of saying thank you to the channel members. I put their names on a wheel, we spin it, and I give away a massive prize pack to one of those fantastic folks. So if you have not become a channel member, be sure to hit that join button down below. See if membership is something that might be right for you. You get loyalty badges next to your name, access to custom emojis. You get to be on lists with these fine people here and more, because this is not updated. But yeah, awesome stuff. And I'll show what those books are later, because that'll take a lot of time to show off everything into that giveaway, and we'll do all that after we bring in the rest of the panel.
Sounds
we
good.
Have people joining us, Paul.
You know what? It's a big tent. We got plenty of room.
Okay, you sure we have plenty of room for this guy? This guy right here?
Okay, this tent just got a lot smaller.
Yeah. TM Nerdy is in the building. What is going on, brother?
And not much. The power bottom is in the building.
You have arrived. Colon crystals in hand. We'll get into all that.
If we're going to talk about colon crystals, we got to have a power bottom.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about colon crystals, we got to have something else too. And that's the man, the myth, the comic man, Andy. What is going on?
What's up, baby?
Yeah, it's going to be a weird night. I can feel it now.
Somebody called for a power bottom?
He's already here. The self-professed power bottom, TM Nerdy, is in the building. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to say hey to some of the people in the chat. We do have to point out, because Las Cruces 1971 is nominated for Best Community Supporter, I believe is the name of the category. And he's proven it here again tonight, with clocking in at 2:55 p.m., hitting us with a woohoo. Can't beat that. Entropy in Comics, what is going on? Wheelchair Superhero 87, what is going on? Thomas is in the building. Trev, hello. Kyle hitting us with that member milestone, 8 months. That's fantastic. Heck yeah. 7 months, not 8. 7 months.
It's 8 months in Canada.
8 months and 8 Canadian months.
Yeah.
It's like one long winter. Thomas clocking in at 21 months. Dude, that's fantastic. 21 months. Wow. I'm almost a year. Getting there. Pops is in the building. What is going on? Pops. Sector clocked in. Andy clocked in. J-Med, how are you doing tonight? Hello. Flash Ray is in the building. Trying to go through this as quick as possible. Sugar Skulls, what is happening? How are you doing tonight? Dagger Cards, what is up? Warlord, what's happening? Nicholas Goltra is in the building. Nicholas has set the date, and he's starting to do the promotional work for his upcoming local con to the Tulsa area, Comic Swap. Legion, we got to go deep tonight. yeah, we're going to be talking about colon crystals. Don't worry. So we got to go deep tonight.
It's getting shitty.
Someone say go deep. Golly. You're gonna have to clue me in on what that video, like what that channel was. I don't know if I even looked at what channel it was I was watching. Pop has one for sale for $40 right now. Check him out. Oh, you must be talking about the Miko Spider Boy. You know, me and Pops were talking. Just drop the price down to $40. We're trying to massively undercut the FMV on anything. Check out Pop's Attic on Instagram. Link is in the description. Our goal is to make sure that you don't have to price check anything on that page. You already know it's the lowest price copy out there. This month is fire.
The
I
Pop's
agree.
price guarantee.
Yeah, Pop's price guarantee. That's right. Announcements. Anyone else from the Boy Scouts remember that? I don't. I wasn't in the Boy Scouts, unfortunately. But me and Kyle were already talking about potentially getting Finn in the Boy Scouts. I think it'd be something fun to do. I didn't do it as a kid. I did something similar to it through our church. It was called RH, Royal Ambassadors. Like you did the camping trips, the fire building competitions, the wild wood runs, all that kind of stuff. It was just done through church. So I guess I did do it, just not under the same title. Scott, what is going on? Aggressively relaxing. Seth 11 is in the building. Jump Mom's Comics. What is going on, Brandon? Good to see you tonight. Fun fact, I'm an Eagle Scout. Dude, awesome. Very cool. Dersey Boy is in the building. Hashtag Dersey Boy. Bigger Jim, what is going on? What is going on? John and I did our age. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like kids and participants from all over would come and do big competitions. It was fun. It was really fun. The Adventurous Joe is in the building. What is going on, brother? How are you doing? All right, so there we go. Got everybody listed on there. TM, tell us who's going to be on Between the Lines tomorrow so I can go close a door over here.
Well, tomorrow we will have Cryo Prime Cody on Between the Lines. It'll be over on my channel, 8:35 p.m. Eastern. And the theme will be forgotten cartoons. So anybody that wants to draw from home can do so and send them to me on Instagram at TM_nerdy. The theme again is forgotten cartoons over on my channel at 8:35 p.m. Eastern.
If they're forgotten, how are they going to know what to draw?
I don't know.
Do you remember, like, because I heard Durs, I think it was Durs mentioned Johnny Bravo on his stream
Johnny
today.
Bravo.
That's one cartoon that will never get like rebooted in today's days.
No, you can't do Johnny Bravo today. But like Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Lab, Angry Beavers, all these things like were from a time era where Cartoon Network did, I think it was like 50 or 30 around there. They did 30 one-shot cartoons, and they did it like they showed one a night for a while. And I don't know how they had a voting process or something, but at the end of it all, they determined which small handful would actually get an ongoing series. And Johnny was one of them. Dexter was one of them. But there was a lot of really cool ones. That's like a whole little pile of forgotten cartoons to go look at.
Always a good time on Between the Lines, though. Always a good time.
It is, but oh man, hold on. But there's an even better time to be had every other Wednesday at 9:30 called Guess That Key. So be sure to go over to cbcawards.org and vote for Guess That Key for best collaborative event under 1,000 subscribers. You will not regret your decision. And thank you to everyone who voted. I'm on a few of those. Comic Man Andy's on a few of those. TM Nerdy is on one of those or two of those, a few of those. Just not if you see Guess That Key. Hashtag
Guess That Key is like it's a really good show. I've been on it quite a bit. I'll be back on it again. But like I said, I'm really biased. I love Between the Lines.
Yeah, Between the Lines and Guess That Key are in the same category. So that's really awesome to see both of those shows get listed as finalists. It's really cool to see that people are enjoying them because I know that we have a blast. Like all of us have been on. It's Paul's show. I'm there with him co-hosting, and Andy's been there, and TM's been there. He's a reoccurring character He's like the neighbor that you see at least 8 times in one season pop in.
We got to get that fence so he can just
show.
so it just appears from here up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Hey, Al.
fantastic to see so much stuff that we have fun doing that people are responding to, you know, because that's what it's really all about, is having fun. At least for me. I can't speak for Andy.
He might have lied to me, but he told me he had fun. He told me he learned something that night. He was the guy I was referring to. That
I mean, every day I'm always learning stuff from the community. You know what I mean? But it was way more fun over there than what Mark told me it was going to be.
That's fair. That's fair. They didn't put Cover Slingers or Gray Man on the thing. I believe that both of them got nominated because they have a list on the CBC site of all the people that got nominated. There was like over 500 unique channels that got nominations. It was just what came down to the finalist. So a lot of people, even if they're not in the finalist category, they most likely did get a nomination because there was so much stuff represented. There's countless channels I'd never heard of. Had me curious to go check some of them out. There's a lot of community that I haven't experienced yet, and I would definitely like to.
Yeah, I remember seeing their names and stuff. It's just they didn't get enough nominations in that. Maybe next year. I know Gray Man's Cover Slingers is a big collaboration, but it would be for the over 1K category.
Gray Man's good people. So let's get into it. Let's kick it off. I got a lot of questions, and I don't even know how to ask them because I don't even know what I'm missing.
Well, you got to be serious about it this time and not just joke around so much. Like, do you know why cows wear bells?
So you know when they're moving?
It's because their horns don't work, you idiot.
okay. With a close second to what Mark said.
Yeah. Episode 3 dropped this past Tuesday, primetime slot of 9 p.m. on Disney Plus, and I got to tell you, it's just I think I've had to downgrade myself. I'm a casual watcher at this point. For this Disney era Star Wars stuff, I'm just a casual fan. I'm not a deep lore fan. I'm not a fanboy of it. And I'm learning that the more that I go through this like Filoni stuff, I guess. Like, because it's getting to the point where all the Easter eggs and all the nods and all that, they have no value for me. It's just, they're just there. And I think the biggest thing for me was the space whales this episode, where I think that was like a huge deal for a lot of people, right. The hyperspace whales. For me, I'm like, oh, there's the whales. And
they're Purgles, right? Is that what they're called, right? Purgles?
Yes.
The Purgles.
Yes. Although I called them space whales as soon as I saw them too, I didn't call them Purgles.
That's what I call the things from Avatar. These, space whales and hyperspace whales. But I did like the fact that it was very on brand with Star Wars. Giant creatures appearing out of stuff and having to fly around them. That's ridiculously textbook Star Wars all the way back to the earliest Star Wars stuff. So I like that aspect of it. But I feel like that might have been a big pop for a lot of people seeing those whales. But I don't know why. So.
Well, episode two, when Balin is looking up at the sky from that ancient star map site, you actually sees one moving through the clouds, and you hear it very faintly in the background. So we kind of saw one in episode 2, but it cuts off really quickly, so you don't get 100% confirmation. But it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do, and now this is just blatantly obvious.
And they also had him in Mandalorian season 3 when they were going through hyperspace, and you see him out the window in space. You see him like, there's whales out here, and that's when I first learned about these not whales. They're super cool looking. They look just like whales. But what's the significance of them? What's their? Why are the whales a reoccurring thing in the Star Wars stuff?
So. Why is a very deeper question to answer than basically just at the surface is they have the hyperspace traveling lanes. I forget exactly what they're called, are something that have been developed over time from humans to aliens to everything to ancient times, even when space travel began. But it's because those hyperspace lanes exist because they were following the whales. Essentially, that's how they started between deeper sections of space and now other galaxies. And they play a significant role, and they were the ones that attached to and then took the ship that had Thrawn and Ezra in it, leading to the connections that anytime we see them in any point of Star Wars, our minds immediately go to Ezra and Thrawn and what are we going to see next? What's going to happen here? And that world they were on, they started flying and working to escape the attack. Then you saw all of those space whales. That world just happened to be in the path of their migratory travels, if you will, whatever they called it exactly. There's some great content on YouTube that they go really deep diving into this stuff where I don't even understand half of it, but it's kind of making sense.
Yeah. Mike says that hyperspace came from the
There you
Purgle. Okay. Okay.
I thought there was kind of a lot of I mean, obviously Mon Mothma has been around, but we saw her this week. We saw Hera's son, is it Jason?
Jace Sandula,
So,
yeah.
right. So we saw him this week. So those are all kind of, nods to previous
Oh, dude,
Star Wars
the
stuff as well.
whole Ahsoka in space straight from Clone Wars right there, man. That was so badass.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool scene. So plot wise in this episode, not a lot really happened like with the greater plot. It was just kind of a straightforward episode. It was pretty short. It clocked in under half an hour, if I'm not mistaken.
Like
And all you
32
really
minutes,
see
yeah.
is them just kind of gathering their stuff and hitting the road. That was pretty much all it was. Them just gathering their equipment and actually getting traveling. But there was a lot of little callbacks to stuff like Sabine blindfold training that we saw Luke do, that we saw Ray do. Now we get to see Sabine do. So I guess they're just are they actually going to train this girl in the Force? That was one of the big things that they were talking about, is a non-Force sensitive character being trained as a Jedi.
There are so many people out there pissed off right now because Sabine can't be Force sensitive. And literally like George Lucas has been saying this forever, that everybody, the Force flows through everybody, through everything. And it's just exactly how Ahsoka said it in the episode. Their talent plays a really big role, right? Like she couldn't move the cup. And this is a big discussion happening with a lot of people that are deeper into the Star Wars content a little bit, where it's not that people are going to be necessarily unhappy. It's just they don't want to turn around and all of a sudden Sabine is force pushing stuff and pulling stuff like within a couple of episodes. There's obviously a bar that has to be set for her, and that bar is extremely high. And kind of one of the monikers that I heard a couple of people talking about is like after a season or after a year of trial and error and failing, and maybe she shutters the cup a little bit. Whereas instead of anybody that's got a lot of talent with or a high midichlorian count that's really strong with the Force, they would be moving mountains and doing other crazy things within months and within years. And she can barely shutter a cup in a year or something like that. So that's like how they play it out is going to determine how upset people are or aren't. Like I know our boy Nemesis Prime in the community is like, she's not Force sensitive. It can't be. And he got mad at me because I was poking at some people on a bigger Star Wars post. I said, dude, I don't care one way or the other. I'm happy. Like it's not going to bug me one way or the other. And I'm not on either camp. And you got to be on a camp. You got to be in a position.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool, like maybe in like the finale of this season, if she's in like dire straits and she like stops herself from getting hit with a saber for a brief second and like passes out or something, and someone else steps in. But just to show us that it's in there somewhere, she just don't know how to access it. Like a moment of
that's what I was thinking. It's gonna be it's gonna be based off of, it's almost like adrenaline, right? It's gonna it's gonna focus it for a little while, and that's where she's gonna get her brief flashes, probably of brilliance with the Force, and then she'll have to learn how she can create those herself without having to put herself in mortal danger.
So how old is Sabine in this? Because I saw what I thought was like the goofiest post ever. I think it was Screen Rant that posted it, and it's like Star Wars breaks one of the oldest rules in Star Wars, with Sabine now being the oldest character being trained as a Jedi. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because they said that she's older than Anakin was. I'm like, Anakin was like 10. Like Luke was way older than that. Luke was like in his 30s or something, right? Like
I thought Luke was like late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's in his 20s when he first started.
Okay, yeah. I don't know the number. I just know that Dagon was older than Anakin was.
Sabine's 30, so yeah.
Okay.
Essentially 30
I think
in the timeline.
I think Sabine will only be able to use the Force and like with her anger, and she'll turn to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
But Sabine's 30, and in the first, I mean, they were saying that Anakin was too old to train, right? In the first movie, right?
Well, that's also where Ahsoka's not a typical Jedi. In fact, she never finished the training. She's going to be very atypical about how she approaches this as well.
Mhm.
Age doesn't matter to her.
They might be showcasing different types of Jedi, like Leia. They have healers and knights. Yeah, and Leia was like that special Mary Poppins kind of Jedi as well. She's like floating and flying through space and stuff.
He makes a really good point, and that's where some content and some other discussions out there kind of segue into Balin and how he handles his saber. Grogu would be the oldest, possibly in his early 100s.
Yeah, but his race is kind of like a cheat code, though. Like his race
Right.
is built to be force sensitive, right?
Yeah, I think
And
so.
they're 100 years to him is,
10
Yeah,
years.
he's like a 50-year-old
like nothing
baby.
to us. Yeah.
But still, like that race, they're all force sensitive, aren't they? The Yoda race.
Believe so, if I remember right. They're very connected to the Force and nature.
Yeah,
Makes the medicine go down.
Exactly, Scott.
But I like where Evil's talking about different types of Jedi, and I think they're going to explore that more. I mean, look at what they're showing with Balin and how Balin handles his lightsaber, more like a two-handed claymore, which is originally how George Lucas kind of designed or kind of envisioned lightsabers being used before they went kind of more to the one-handed route. And it just kind of makes sense. You look at Ahsoka, you look at Sabine, you look at Balin, you were starting to see many different types of Jedi. I mean, look at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan wasn't even really strong with the Force. He was experienced in training, really. Is where it paid off for him.
Yeah. And I think Qui-Gon was like as far as like the movies and stuff go, he would be one of the earliest like really dialed in people, because it was in I think it was in episode 3 when Yoda says like Qui-Gon has found a way to come talk to us from the other side kind of thing. So timeline wise, that would kind of signify that he's pretty dialed in. And remember when he was fighting, like he would like meditate between breaks and stuff. But it is pretty interesting to think about that, all the different types of Jedi, because just like in real life, you have like samurai, and you have like ninjas, and you have like people who train in karate. Like there's different types of fighting styles. So why wouldn't there be different avenues to take it using the Force?
And many different Force powers. Look at what we've gotten with Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order and Cal Kestis, and starting to see different Jedis be more, and different types of Jedis be more apt to these different styles of Force powers, so to speak.
I think we're going to see a lot more Jedis too, and if they're going to galaxy jump, like who knows what's on the other side of that galaxy, and what whole new world we're going to be introduced to in the Star Wars mythos.
So what's Mary Elizabeth Weinstein's character's name in this? The Green Girl.
Hera
Syndulla.
So we see her convening with, I guess, what's supposed to be like the was that the New
Senate.
Republic Council,
Yeah.
Senate, whatever. Are any of those significant characters? Or are they kind of just one and done? Do you think? Because I don't recognize any of these characters at this point.
Mon Mothma was the woman there.
Mm-hmm. You get Mon Mothma, who is now the leader of the New Republic, right?
Chancellor or something.
Chancellor,
right?
yeah.
Right.
I think it was Chancellor.
She played a huge part in Andor.
Mm-hmm.
American watch.
Yeah, I watched 3 episodes like everybody else.
And then okay, Return of the Jedi. Which of the original 3 was when they had the star map in the hall, and they were devising a plan to blow it up to fly into? Was that the third? Was that the third movie?
That was the first and third movie, wasn't
third.
it?
Well, Mon Mothma was in the third movie.
Yeah, I recognize the name. I'm pulling her up now. Okay, she's the person who's in the white robe, like who's in charge of everything. I got you.
She's the one who crashed the big Star Destroyer into the. She killed her. She ran a suicide mission in the movie.
Yep. But in the third movie, that deck where they're doing the presentation, that's the same deck, same space, and same ship as what we get in episode 2 with Hera Syndulla there, where she's doing the presentation.
She did that in the sequels, Paul?
Yeah. She's the one who She's the one that Poe Dameron was having that fight over what's the best plan to go with. And
I almost forgot that because that movie's pretty forgettable. Well, that was episode 8, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same one where Princess Leia does her Mary Poppins thing.
Yeah, that part's very memorable. I did not see that coming. Was there any more kind of big notable points from this?
Well, I feel like it was a big growing point between Ahsoka and Sabine, like kind of realizing that they have to like listen to each other. You see the growth between them, like from the first episode where like they're not listening to each other and that just giving each other a chance, being like, okay, we'll do it your way.
I thought it was Admiral Holdo. Oh, I thought no, maybe they're right. I thought it was Mon Mothma, but I trust people who have more knowledge in Star Wars than I do. It was Laura Dern, I know that.
From Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a different actor, but that had to have been Mon Mothma, based on the timing.
Shop said he saw a theory where Balin was a Padawan of Qui-Gon Padawan on Qui-Gon. I think that's what that says. That's what something Andy had shared with me earlier was it was like a little theory video for Balin. They were kind of talking about his lightsaber, the potential story routes you could do with the size of it, the way it's built, as well as the color of it, potentially being introduced that it's not using kyber crystals. And that was kind of the joke that we were kind of talking about at the beginning of this with colon crystals. KOHLAN colon crystals. But Andy's here to explain to us what colon crystals are because I don't have a clue.
Oh, this is gonna be shitty. I stumbled on a video earlier today of somebody's theory. I think it was Star Wars Explained or it was Star Wars Comicx YouTube channel. They talked about one of the reasons for the orange lightsabers was actually a different kind of crystal, not even a Kuiper crystal, but they called it a colon crystal. And they went in discussion a little bit about how the reason why they're so rare and you see them so infrequently was that they're only produced, they only come around when like the chosen one or the prophecy comes to fulfillment, i.e. Anakin bringing balance to the Force. And that's how these orange colon crystals came to be on a specific location. I forget where it was. So I was wrong. If that's true and that's canon, then I was wrong about how I thought it was a process of bleeding towards becoming a red crystal or a Sith-based crystal, and like a failure. If they failed, it turned orange. But
Mike said they could be powered by witch magic.
Interesting. So this video that we found, if you have the link and look at the channel that it was listed on, I think it was like Star Wars Comicx or Star Wars Explained. It was somebody
I like Star Wars Explained. Every May 4th, they do a complete history of, through comics and everything. Like they do like everything that's canon. So
yeah, I listen to them on my way to and from work every day, getting caught up on all of their episodes. That's a lot of fun, but it just seems too easy that that's how the orange lightsaber come to be or had come to be. And they talked about even going deeper when Obi-Wan actually carried an orange lightsaber for a time. There were several other characters that had orange lightsabers, but they were short-lived. And I'm trying to figure out if this is canon or not. But colon crystal just sounds like a fucking terrible idea.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the best name.
Yeah.
They didn't think that one through. I do like the orange lightsaber thing. Ever since Mace Windu, like the idea of multiple colored lightsabers and having different meanings is I've been all on board for it. Because till then it was just blue, green, and red, right? And we've had Ahsoka with these bleached out colors. We had Rey show up with a yellow one, and Seth 11 is a big fan of the yellow lightsabers. It looks like he says they remind him of R. Kelly.
Oh God. God. Blue lightsabers are said to represent righteousness and bravery. Green lightsabers are the second most common color used by Jedi, with being closely associated with attributes of harmony, helpfulness, cooperation, spirituality, and demonstratable goodwill. the hell article is this? Green Rant. Okay. Purple. No hidden. Purple lightsaber synonymous with Mace Windu. His purple lightsaber was a request made directly to Lucas by Samuel L. Jackson, whose favorite color is purple. As such, quote unquote, there's no hidden meaning to this rare lightsaber within the canon Star Wars universe. However, in Legends, it indicates moral ambiguity, uncertainty, and reconstruction. That's funny. Yellow, exclusively used by Jedi Temple guards. Little known about this particular color. Yeah, it says just very unclear what yellow means. In Star Wars Legends, though, yellow lightsabers are used by Jedi Sentinels, and when the ancient, yeah, there's not a lot of it, not a lot indicating why they're yellow or what the purpose the yellow serves. Orange, one of the newer additions to Star Wars canon, is the orange lightsaber, which features as a selectable option. Orange lightsabers are also wielded by the mysterious villains Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati in the Ahsoka series. As of now, not much is known about what orange lightsabers mean in Star Wars canon. However, in Legends, orange blades have sometimes been used by the Sith and Dark Aligned Jedi, like Mace Windu's purple blade, treading dangerously close to the dark side. Skoll and Hati's orange sabers may indicate that they aren't completely aligned with the Sith.
You know, I always attributed Mace Windu's purple lightsaber just to him, like signifying that he's the baddest dude out there with a lightsaber. Because there's even a line of dialogue in the prequels where they say maybe like it was something along the lines of maybe one day I'll be as good as Mace Windu is or Master Windu is with a lightsaber. Like it, they pointed out that he is the gold standard of lightsaber wielder. So I always attributed it to that.
Yeah, I just picture Mace Windu saying, I'll make whatever the fuck kind of color I want.
Evil said, "Yep, Darth Raven.
Darth Revan. Yeah, there's just a lot going on. There's a lot to connect. It's kind of mind melting, starting to put the pieces together. Because then, if you're like me, you get distracted by one thing, then you don't achieve your original purpose of something you were looking into.
If it's not, it's on his wallet."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think the big thing in this, the good guys in this episode found the spaceport, the Stargate, floating in space. So is that the bridge to this other galaxy? Is that what that is? Is how we found out that Grand Admiral Thrawn is in not this galaxy far, far away, but a galaxy farther away. Is that what this big ring in space is meant to do to get us there? What is that?
That's I guess the question of the week pretty much is they've got 9 Star Destroyer hyperspace engines attached to this thing, and if they're essentially making a giant jump ring for like what they used in the earlier movies during the Clone Wars. The little speeders, the Jedi speeders would hop in, then connect to these rings and go to light speed because the speeders themselves weren't allowed to do that or able to do that. I think that's big giant
in episode 2, even his little space
yeah
ship, it would clip onto the ring and take off. I forgot all about that.
I think they're making this big giant ring not to just be able to go travel to find him, but to actually bring that ship and him back. Like that thing is so freaking big. I'm guessing they're making it as big as they are and putting those 9 hyperspace engines on there to bring the actual ship back with Thrawn and then hopefully potentially Ezra as well.
So is Thrawn like fabled to be imprisoned where he's at? Is he in hiding? Like
there's not a lot of evidence that I know that's out there with all the digging that I've been doing to figure out what's been taking place these last several years while out in that galaxy between Thrawn and Ezra. And that's why some people are saying that this Marok, this new Inquisitor, could be Ezra because they think maybe they turned him. And I'm like, yeah, well, if we don't have Thrawn back, then we definitely don't have Ezra back from that galaxy either. There's lots of speculation and theory to try to figure out what's happening, but there's not a lot of actual Easter eggs or things being plotted or left behind that we are able to connect the dots with that I can figure out.
TM, you weren't here last week. Who do you think the secret Sith character is with the Inquisitor style weapon?
I feel like they're never going to reveal it. I think that it's just going to be, people are going to be wondering who it is, and he's never going to be unmasked. He's going to die eventually, but that's just it.
You think they just brought him in?
That's
for
my
cannon
theory.
fodder?
Yeah, because I don't feel like they're going to
that would be a
introduce it.
waste.
Well, I don't feel like they're going to introduce a brand new character that nobody knows either. So maybe he won't die, but I feel like we're not going to find out who it is in the series.
That's a bold move, just to, because that is something that's kind of like normal in pop culture stuff, where they start to do something and we as viewers and fans, we start theorizing on it, create these fantastical ideas that it never even gets near the level of creativity that we come up with as a collective talking about this stuff week in and week out. He very well could just be just the remnants of an Inquisitor that's just there for cannon fodder because they need a bad guy to kill because they're not going to kill Balin or his apprentice. Or it could be Star Killer. Is there anyone else talking about that this week?
Which one?
The
Star Killer?
secret Sith guy. What's his name? Star Killer? Does he have a name?
Marek. There's just a couple of different pronunciations that sound just like the Marek or the guy that's in Ahsoka. That's still the leading theory that a lot of people are going on, and some of the stuff being created on YouTube, the content is these content creators think that that's exactly what's going to happen, and there's more evidence because just yesterday, I think, Sam Witwer did an interview where he came out and he said that he actually worked on Ahsoka. Like, he came back and kind of flip-flopped it a little bit and said that he did some work on Ahsoka, and it was an interview just released recently, and that's what a lot of people are basing this off on, is that he's the actor playing that character, and it's the toned down canonized version of Star Killer.
Well,
I don't know that necessarily.
I'm pretty sure he was credited in the credits for playing, like, voicing that character too. So,
well, he was credited as an additional voice, but the voice wasn't credited to that character that I can think of yet. Looking at the credits, it doesn't have his name there, if I remember correctly. And they've already shown that there's a stunt actor playing that character in that suit. There's nobody that we recognize it's a stunt character. The theory that I'm thinking that might catch us off guard, and I don't know how much truth there is to this, but has anybody watched Tales of the Jedi when Ahsoka was fighting the Inquisitor in Tales of the Jedi and she struck the Inquisitor down and went poof?
This is the anime one?
Yeah, well, not anime. It's animated, but not the anime. It's animated as the Tales of the Jedi, and it's that season that went back and forth between Ahsoka and Dooku. It was really good. She struck down one of the Inquisitors on that farm. Then the face mask hits the ground, like took his head off, and then it just collapsed, like turned to smoke. Poof. So now the theory that might catch, that's kind of that I'm thinking is going to catch us off guard, that I've heard that I'm not claiming, it's not my theory, it's somebody else's. They're thinking that Dothmerian magic or Night Sister magic brought the spirit of this Inquisitor back, because if you look at this Inquisitor's armor, it's an older style Inquisitor armor, and it's rusty and it's nasty. So the one theory that I think will catch us off guard, that I'm curious, which actually would kind of suck, because then it doesn't really mean there's not much to this Inquisitor then. And does this Inquisitor get struck down in the next episode? Because we see credits, or we see cutscenes of Ahsoka fighting Balin at the structure there, but you don't see the Inquisitor, but you see the Inquisitor fighting Ahsoka in the forest with Sabine fighting Hati. You know what I mean? Like those two get busted down, and then Ahsoka gets to Balin and starts fighting Balin. So I'm getting a little overly excited just because I'm like really interested to see how this is going to pan out. But it would kind of suck, because then there wouldn't be much there. It's an Inquisitor. It's just magic. It's just this Inquisitor is a magical spirit by Night Sister magic, which kind of ties to what's her face, Madeline, or Madam, the one creating the ring, trying to get to Thrawn. God, I can't remember all the damn names. That's the hard part.
There's so many. Yeah, I've gotten lost with the names at this point. I used to feel like I was pretty good with Star Wars names, and then we hit the sequel era. It's like Transformers. Like there's like this golden opportunity of remembering all this stuff, or how to transform a toy. It's when you're a really little kid, or some other time in life. It's not when you're a parent.
And most of these characters, characters are new to people that didn't watch Rebels. Because let's
Yep.
be honest, not I know people that don't like cartoons. They don't watch cartoons. They love Star Wars. They skip Rebels. So these are brand new characters for a lot of people. So that's why I feel like they're not going to introduce another brand new character, because they've already introduced Ahsoka live action. I know that she showed up in The Mandalorian, but and Boba Fett, but Ahsoka live action. We got Hera live action. We got Sabine live action. We got all these characters being introduced to live action. I don't feel like that they haven't even gotten to introducing Thrawn yet. I don't know if they're going to have another character. I do like that idea that it's just
Magic.
yeah, and it's done by the Witches of Dada. So
and it shows another side to the Force, so to speak, that there are magic. I mean, we know that there are magic wielding Night Sisters out there, and if this is potentially a spell for a spirit to fulfill that Inquisitor armor, not Grand Inquisitor, but the Inquisitor's armor. And I like where TM's going with this. He's right. Like, how many new characters do you want to shove into a new series for new viewers, so to speak? But what also kind of adds to that a little bit more is I really think the Sam Whitmer, yeah, the credit towards his additional voice acting in there. If you listen very closely, extremely closely, in episode 1, you can hear Darth Maul, a line that Sam uses in Darth Maul about him being the chosen one, talking about Anakin from, I think it's Clone Wars. If you listen really closely, when she's listening into one of those pedestals to see how to turn it, she's connecting to the Force so well that she can hear past Force echoes from other Force users, and Darth Maul comes up there if you listen really closely. But that's the trick. Episode 1 didn't have Sam credited on there, right? If I remember correctly, but episode 2 did. So now it's like trying to connect these dots that aren't quite lining up, because she goes into the temple right in episode 1 within the first, I think that voiceover that you hear for Darth Maul is within the first 15 minutes.
They have gods in Star Wars universe, so magic isn't far off. Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, thank you.
Elsbeth.
Now,
So
what'll really blow your mind too is, you remember the pendant that Andor received from the what was his name? I'm looking for it. In Andor, where is it? Luthen gives to Andor in the Andor series, the big bluish whitish pendant.
Ian might remember.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys didn't watch. That's another type of Kuiper.
No, I think I watched just the 3 episodes. I think they watched it all.
I didn't get to the entire thing though.
That's a sky Kuiper crystal from the galaxy that we're looking at, where Thrawn went to.
So okay. Anybody else think Marek is Ezra Bridger? I've got my comic collection on it. Oh wow.
If it is, I'm tuning out.
I mean, it's a fun theory to play with. I just don't think enough things will connect to make it happen. Yeah, if you go back, Esteban, listen really closely, turn the volume way up, and when she's trying to tune her ear into that pedestal, you'll hear Darth Maul utter that about him being the chosen one, if I remember correctly.
What are the Rodidians?
Rotidians?
Yeah, I can't the pronunciation. I don't know if they're evil, but they're the alien race in that other galaxy that
Is that what Thrawn is?
Yeah, where I think the pre-Jedi people fought, or at the very, very early stages of the Jedi fought, and it's where they were making those very grand, massive, universe-sized weapons were to fight those. I gotta look that up again.
So I got a question about Inquisitors. This is something that I'm wondering now that we got this new guy. Like, timeline-wise, the only time I've ever seen Inquisitors is in the Obi-Wan show. How long did they exist for? That's all. Well, that was the first time we ever saw Inquisitors, and they're just like, all of a sudden there's just Siths everywhere.
Essentially, the Inquisitors, who aren't quite Sith, Sith in training, essentially, you might think of them in that fashion. They came of training under Anakin, right? The Inquisitors are doing Anakin's dirty work. They're his gophers, essentially. So when Anakin became Darth Vader and turned to the dark side, essentially, is when when the Inquisitors came about.
They were they were in the comics a lot for a little while when they were going after the last archive or whatever they call that person, curator of the Jedi archives, I think, in the Darth Vader series.
Clone Wars. I mean, you see him in the animation stuff a fair bit.
Just the rule of two. They can't have more than 2 Sith.
Dude, that's what I always thought. And then like this Disney era just fractured my brain.
Well, yeah, and that's where everybody automatically cuts off where red lightsaber means Sith. Red lightsaber doesn't always mean Sith. It means they are trending towards that way, the dark side. And yeah, you're right. Two Sith, the power of 2. So there's a lot of red lightsabers out there floating around. They've got to explain that somehow. Rodians were green-skinned reptilian humanoids native to the planet Rhodia during the Clone Wars. Was represented by Senator. Oh wait, nope. I got the wrong one. I'm thinking of the wrong species.
Yeah, Durs has renewed his membership. Boom! Big shout out to my Dursy boy there.
I don't know. I'm excited for Tuesday.
He has been a Legion member. Some people stuff automatically redoes.
I've been enjoying the series, and I don't know why, but this episode 3, I liked a lot more than the rest. I don't know. I like the space battle there. It wasn't because of the whales. It wasn't because of the space whales. Like everybody, I liked the throwback where Sabine was training and how Ahsoka just stepped back and said, okay, tell me what you need, and that you can see growth between the two of the characters in this episode. And then for people that don't know who Thrawn is, you could see how Hera's trying to like build the character up. Like she's scared when she's talking to the other New Republic senators and that. So I enjoyed that. Plus, you also have like 3 gorgeous women in the show. You got Mary Elizabeth Winston. You got Rosario Dawson. I forget who plays Sabine, but I like that actress who's playing Sabine. They're all great looking too. So Star Wars has never been as beautiful as now.
Have you guys seen the memes floating around with Bo-Katan, and it's just a meme of her derriere as she's walking. She's got the Bo-Katan strut, and everybody's loving that strut and loving that cake in the bakery, so to speak. Now they're doing the same thing with Hera from in that jumpsuit, just the butt shot going away. I've seen them side by side on social media.
That's the Mary Elizabeth Winstead
Yes.
character. Yeah, I've seen that. The way like when they were all sitting in the little transport going through the engine shipyard, and the way that she sits, like perfect posture. There's like I've seen memes of her like from the backside with her perfect posture, and people are memeing the hell out of that.
There's somebody in the community that we know, and I wish I could give them credit and remember who posted it, but somebody created a meme, and it's a picture of Obi-Wan pulling out the binoculars from the series or whatever that, and then you saw all of a sudden you get this binocular look on the next panel, and it's her butt big time, and then the last panel is just him pulling the binoculars away with a grin on his face, and it's even funnier because it's his actual wife too.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Barbie should have a pink lightsaber. Somebody should at this point. It's kind of, now that you mention it, it's kind of weird that no one does have one. Maybe Sabine will be the first one to get a pink lightsaber to trend with her hair. She's supposed to be this big graffiti artist. I haven't seen her do any graffiti yet, which I don't know if it upsets me or excites me that they haven't done that.
There's also another theory going around that that who that Inquisitor is, and it's like what's his name? Snoke, a younger version of Snoke,
a clone of Snoke. Yeah.
There's
also another.
Huh? But Snoke is a clone himself. It's just a
So it'd be
body
just
for the Emperor.
Yep. There's also another theory I've heard going around that it's a clone of Luke Skywalker from when he lost his hand. That was pretty good.
Oh, like they grew it from his hand?
Uh-huh.
It's just going to be a robot with just a human hand. That'll be funny.
Something. I mean,
the big fight scene in this, and you made a comment about it already, that it was straight from the animated series. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure how well it translated to live action, because they're flying through space. Bad guys are chasing them. They see the big transport ring. Their engines get damaged, and they're kind of floating just dead in the water. And you got like 3 bad guy ships that were chasing them, including the Inquisitor character, Balin's apprentice, and then I think just a throwaway character.
Yeah.
So what they do in all their wisdom is Ahsoka puts on a spacesuit, walks outside on the ship, and just waits for the bad guys to get in arm's reach to beat them, instead of them just like, shooting them again.
Well, I mean, if the ship is out, They don't have power. They don't have guns. They don't have anything.
I mean, like, why did the bad guys get in arm's reach of Ahsoka?
Yeah, I know.
I kind of face palmed a little. Like when she walked out on that ship, I'm like, oh, snap. And she turned on the lights. I'm like, yo, that's like a really cool visual right there. And then I kind of had to just like, all right, I got to give it to him. Like, what else is she supposed? King Kong did it. King Kong did it on the Empire State Building. He slapped down planes. Why'd they get so close?
I'll give you that. I don't feel like it translated as well into live action, because in animation you can do so much more sweet things on the screen that just you don't even think about it. And in live action, you're like, your brain has to stick to some theories and rules and laws that we know of, like no gravity in space, right? Like, but a Force user should be able to do a lot more. And I think she should have been able to be more fluid in movements as a Jedi. Just because there's no gravity in space doesn't mean she can't use the ship to force herself around in a fashion using the Force, so to speak, to pull herself closer, move away. Maybe that explains your thought of why did they get so close to her. Is maybe she utilized the Force and guided them closer to her. But you're right, the throwaway character. That's who she took out, was the throwaway character. I don't know. Yeah, it's space. Yeah, there's not a lot to work with there, but she's standing on that ship, and were those boots magnetic boots, or was she using the Force? I didn't really look that deep into it.
Either way, it looked cool as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'm pretty sure at one point she got together with a Rocket Raccoon and gave her some magnetic boot, like gravity boots.
He said, "I need that guy's hand." What is going on? S-Von 82 is in the building.
Hold on, you just went over another comment that made me think of it. There's a theory going on that could be Ventress in that suit too.
I thought she's dead by now.
I don't know. I don't know about the timing, but I heard that as well, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of theories around here for this.
I like Digger Jim's theory that it's Snake from G.I. Joe.
It's even better. It's a crossover.
Nick's Kicks and Comics. Yeah, she was reflecting their shots, but they also pelted the ship 50 times, and it didn't do any damage to it. There was a lot of plot armor in that scene.
Yeah,
I just had my mind immediately went to King Kong to justify it, though. Like, if King Kong can do it, she can do it.
Well, this is a perfect opportunity for. Too bad Chopper wasn't there and pulled some genocidal action out in space, because that's one of the things Chopper's known for, is just going out into empty space and sneaking around, going over to other ships. That's my one really big critique of Episode 3 was not enough Chopper.
Well, speaking of droids, I want to touch on Kyle's comment here. He says the android was weird. So I don't know what it is about this android, but it gives me bad guy vibes. Everything about him seems like he's just waiting to reveal that he's a bad guy. That he's like just going to turn on him at any minute.
Which droid though?
The one that was with him.
Okay.
David Tennant.
The one that was Sabine, the one that's
Professor,
like, takes forever to reboot, and it just seems like he has ulterior motive running or something. Doesn't seem straight. I would trust IG-88 in killer mode before I would trust this guy.
Yeah, Louis. No, man, he's been around for.
Yeah, how do you pronounce
served
that?
with the Jedi for. I think it's Lue.
Yeah, David Tennant does his voice, right?
Mhm.
Doctor Who.
He was also Purple Man though, so there you go, bad guy.
Mhm.
So,
He does have a huge magnetic chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know. Maybe he's the one in the suit.
Died in the books by now, but like
It's just
Star
all of a
Wars, that's
sudden
about
we're
all I
going to
had to
see it
contribute.
unmasked, and it's going to be David Tennant under the mask.
Okay, here we go. Hu Yang is a Mark IV architect droid professor.
What is it?
What's that?
Say that again.
Hu Yang is a Mark IV architect droid professor who taught Jedi younglings how to construct lightsabers, something that could come in very handy in Ahsoka. The droid guided students, Star Wars figures like Yoda and Mace Windu for thousands of years on the Crucible. No one knows Hu Yang's exact origins, but very abruptly, a rumor spread among the younglings that he arrived in a big blue box. Oh, Doctor Who. Yeah, get it.
J-Med said, here's the bigger problem. You guys have given this screen more thought than the writers did as they wrote it. I 100% agree with that. We've mentioned that already, that a lot of times we fan theorize and sit here and talk about this stuff to a degree that they can never achieve in the shows. We do that for stuff. I do it for Star Wars. I did it for Flash, hoping that they're going to like reset the DCU with it and everything. And they just little times do they often live up to the actual fans. Like they need more fans in writer rooms and not corporate entities or writers.
Well, yeah, they don't have to sit and do these theories because they've already steered the ship. They've already wrote everything out. They've already got it all figured out. That's part of being a fan, is to sit here and figure out where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. He's the ultimate a-hole C-3PO.
Yeah. And if Filoni had 100% control and got to do everything he wanted to do his way, I'm sure we would have a lot better, not better, but I'm sure we'd have a lot of other people out there that would say that it's too far the other way. And it's a pendulum, it's a balancing act, right? Like better writing, but there's so many roadblocks.
If they drove stuff to the degree that fans like imagine it, you would lose your audience so fast except for like
you'd alienate the other 80% of people that watch TV that aren't really fans of it. But
yeah, because this is already hard enough for me to keep up with details, just watching it as a casual viewer.
And imagine if that was your every breathing moment was Star Wars, and that's what you did as a career. Nobody knows this better than George Lucas, Dave Filoni, and a handful of other people. So granted, they're going to be overseeing. They can't do all the work themselves, and some of the writing's probably not going to be great. But if you removed every roadblock to the point where the writing was perfect, you'd only have 2 or 3 people actually writing, and it would take forever and a day for anything to come out.
Quality over quantity.
That's true. Quality. There's definitely a balance, though.
Just like with the Force.
Yeah.
They're gonna, and the people writing the checks and controlling the money are gonna push for quantity every time.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate side of the bigger corporation holding it now. Aggressively Relaxing says that Jerk Droid is the ultimate exposition bot that can tie all 3 eras together.
Mm-hmm.
So are the current Marvel Star Wars comics canon to what we see in the movies and shows?
Because somebody else mentioned that in the original trilogy, that the first part of the first Star Wars universe was the Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, the novels. Those aren't actually canon anymore because they happened before Disney took over, so they're part of the legends. So the part where they took Luke's hand and they created a clone isn't really part of Star Wars canon anymore.
Yeah, Joe's saying like before the War of the Bounty Hunters, what was last year, that there's a story where Vader went to Exegol and they showed Palpatine have Luke's cut off hand.
I'm guessing he's referencing the Soul run in 2017 Vader, which I haven't finished reading all of that yet, so I'd have to get into that. Marvel Current. Oh, the current Vader run.
Yeah.
The Vader run that's current right now?
Yeah, I'm asking if the current Marvel Comics, like the current stuff, like after Disney bought Marvel Comics, is all that canon, like canon
Well,
lore?
it has to be now because
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely everything. And that's where they're not going to make it not canon because they're writing all these comic books and setting all this stuff up to do the 1-2 punch right into large screen format content right from the phase that Kathleen Kennedy's in charge of that everybody's not quite happy with.
Because like when it comes to Marvel Comics, they're not canon to the MCU, so that's a huge undertaking to make that many Star Wars comic books that come out every single month.
But they put a stake in the ground that said that anything before Marvel Comics purchased Lucasfilm is now considered Legends.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And anything after it's considered canon now. And now that they won't borrow from what came before and try to make it like Thrawn,
High Republic,
borrow that and make him canon. But yeah, I mean,
I think they can make anything canon.
Yeah,
I think anything.
It used to be just the movies and the live action, the animation. That was all that was canon. Everything else was just any comics or anything was
they
just
called
kind
it
of
extended universe stuff, right? The old books and everything was just Star Wars extended universe.
Yeah, but now it's considered called Legend now.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Aggressive says, when it's a Legend, everything is canon because you can always go and grab what you want out of Legend and adapt it into your current era.
Like they did with Thrawn. I feel like they're going to incorporate other things into Star Wars as well from the Legend line because there was great stories over there. So they'd be stupid not to like pull something from that.
And I tagged Andy in a post this week where people were posting and talking about the big finale movie to all of this D+ Star Wars era. Because like we have like phases with the MCU, and James Gunn already mapped out that he's going to do phases with the DCU and title the first one Gods and Monsters and all that. I think we've always had phases with Star Wars. They've done it in like trilogy blocks, but since we got into this Disney Plus era, it seems like they're kind of just doing stuff all over the map kind of thing, which is kind of cool. You don't get too like tied down to any one thing. I like the idea of going back and looking at like the earliest Jedi, like people finding and discovering the Force, because that was one of the movies that they announced. And then the other one was the big finale to this Disney Plus stuff with Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all that. And so it looks like they're still talking about that on the internet. It hasn't been ex-nayed yet, as far as I can tell.
One of the movies that they announced at D23 did get canceled though. But it's
Hopefully
not
the Rey one.
It's not either of the ones that you mentioned. It was the
one with Rey. Then 10 years after the sequel trilogy.
Unfortunately, no. That one's not canceled that we know of yet.
Is it the one that's like the Knights of the Old Republic type one?
I think it had something to do with the X-Wing group.
Oh, that Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins.
Yeah, the Patty Jenkins movie that got canceled
before then.
Because that's
really? That's one that they announced like the year before this past one. They announced that they had the promo with her walking by the X-Wing and everything, and yeah, they canceled that one a while back. See, Mara Jade could also be another guess. Isn't that Luke's girl?
Wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's not canon though either, is it anymore?
Nope.
So like that'd be a character. I wonder if they would just really piss fans off trying to introduce that character in an era without a Luke.
An era without a Luke, yeah.
Because we're Lukeless.
I'm excited for more content away from the Skywalker saga trilogy series, the Skywalker Enterprise. Give me more bounty hunters. This is what I hope the Mandalorian turns. Yeah, I hope the Mandalorian turns and spin-offs into a bounty hunter series where we get the scum of the universe fighting and battling it out, and you get that episodic spaghetti western kind of some standoff stuff, some, you know what I mean, some downright dirty handiwork of the bounty hunters. And you get to see more of the Crimson Blade, Crimson Tide, Crimson See, I can't even remember all of it, but the groups, not the smugglers, but like the groups, the Huts are part of it. The cartels, is it the cartels, or am I
Isn't
watching
it the Crimson Rain?
the Crimson Rain? Yeah, not cartels, but I'm watching too much Narcos on TV.
Young Kylo. Wow.
Interesting.
That's the first time I've heard someone throw that one out there.
Although to your point though, Andy, is I mean they had announced a long time ago. They had announced that George Lucasfilm was going to do something with Fox. It was going to be a live action Star Wars show, and it was going to be set. It wasn't going to have any of the Skywalkers or anything. It was going to be like a down to earth, like gritty type, sidewalk type thing. Almost like it was going to delve into like the underworlds of
Yeah,
Star Wars. And they had written the reason why I didn't go forward is because Lucasfilm said, you have to give me like 60 episodes. And they wrote like all 60 apparently. So they have, or the majority of them. So they already have a lot of those scripts that they could probably dust off if they wanted to do something like what you were saying.
yeah. Where's all the scrappers in the Star Wars universe that grew up on a mining field and have nothing, but they built their way up into the realm with bounty hunters and they're fighting for their spot? And that's a pretty cool hero, not really anti-hero story that you can get into, that you could do a gazillion different things that's still inside the Star Wars universe. It doesn't have to be tied to anything. It doesn't have to be just like the Snyder movie that's coming out, Rebel Moon. It's I mean, if it's not unfortunately tied to anything Star Wars anymore, but yeah, where's Dash?
See, I think that would be a good one to do. Dash Rendar. That would give us the scrappers and all that, because he's got no powers. Ran around during the Empire days, doing all that stuff, smuggling. Nobody is dead in Star Wars stuff. You just go back and tell a story in their era. We need a proper Jango Fett TV show to be what the Boba Fett show failed at being, and just seeing like an actual bounty hunter being awesome. The Mandalorian stuff, like especially season 1 and 2, is fantastic. 3 was garbage, but 1 and 2 was fantastic. And you actually see a little bit of him doing bounty hunter stuff, but he gets focused in on questing pretty hard with the Baby Yoda stuff, and it ties back into the Skywalker stuff and all that. But if you did a proper Jango series, it could be what the Boba Fett series failed to do, and you could highlight all that crime and all this and that, and just do like a Star Wars bounty hunters TV show. And like there's more than just Jango that's worth exploring. Like bring Cad Bane back in. Like
get into the syndicates, get into the pirates, get into the other cool shit like that. That'd be awesome. Just don't make it so regular and so weekly that you're bringing in the Danny Trejos, you're bringing in the weekly guest superstar or something like
bringing
that. We should do Star Wars Bounty Hunter episodic, and every episode is a different story featuring a different bounty hunter. Episode 1,
there you go.
Bane. The finale, save Jango for the finale because he's peak. He's like just one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I can't get over it.
That's the exciting thing. That's kind of the carrot that's being dangled in front of the horse cart, so to speak, is the exciting things that are happening in the Star Wars universe that we haven't even touched bases on, the characters we haven't even met yet, all the exciting things they could be doing, and getting away from the things that are very polarizing within the fandom and within the communities. You know what I mean?
See, aggressively relaxing, who's probably the biggest Trekkie with more Star Wars knowledge than I know anyone has, says what's interesting right now is Thrawn is a bad guy. But as we learned at D23, there's no such thing as bad guys in Star Wars, just different viewpoints, because these people
in the books he was never like the true villain like he is in Rebels. He was more of like a anti-hero in that he wasn't a hero, he wasn't a bad guy, but he had sympathetic feelings towards every race.
But when
every race in the universe,
a good guy who is trying to fight the next big bad. That's interesting.
So, but in Rebels, he's like strictly bad. He's strictly evil. So in Ahsoka, he is going to be he's the Thrawn from Rebels, not the Thrawn from the books. So he's strictly evil in Ahsoka.
Big Nosh also, is in the building. What is up, brother?
I got a question. When's Zeb gonna show up? Because he has to show up.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that they're gonna like just put him at the end of an episode of Mandalorian and just never come back to him.
Well, we still haven't seen the ghost yet either. So maybe when we actually see the ghost on screen, we'll see Zeb and Jace and Hera and Chopper and the crew all together. You never know. Where are we at?
And Chopper was introduced in Rebels. That was his show. Is that where he's from?
Yeah. If I remember, somebody correct me, but I think that's where he was brought on, was in Rebels.
I gotta watch that one day.
Dude, you'll be it's very rewarding. Whether or not you don't even have to be a massive Star Wars fan to be rewarded by that.
I enjoyed Clone Wars back when it first came out.
Rebels is way better than Clone Wars, in my opinion.
Watch your tongue, Andy. Watch your tongue.
Short of the last season of Clone Wars, I mean.
Yeah,
Rebels is pretty good, but at the same time, like some people are not gonna go watch a cartoon because some people just aren't into cartoons and that.
I wasn't either for the long time, but Clone Wars and Rebels converted me, man. Seriously.
See, I'm familiar with this because Aggressively Relaxing had me go buy an audiobook, which I did happily. I think TM did it with me. We did it one night. And I'm admittedly not far into it. I'm in like chapter 3. But in chapter 1, that was like part of chapter 1, was he was getting ready to go lead an attack against a group of people and wanted to do it without having to fight pretty much. So he was looking at their culture and their art to get a proper understanding of them, of how to attack them and take them down. And he did it.
That's the same kind of Thrawn in Rebels, and that nuance is still with him, and that but he's a lot more cutthroat in Rebels than he is in.
Sounds like the kind of guy that should be able to access the Force, like a mind that powerful.
He knows how to stop the Force, and that was addressed in the books too. With those I forget what they're called. They're the lizards that are like attached to trees and stuff that they repel the Force back. Maybe you're not at
that. I can't think of it either.
But they're just a lizard. And he went and got these creatures and stuff, and then he just kind of pretty much had it behind him. And whenever somebody tried to use the Force on Thrawn, it would get repelled back because these things repel the Force.
Well, the night is quickly running by. Do I want to switch over and talk about some funny books? Because this was a fantastic week for me, especially for comics, because I've been on a rabbit hole this past couple weeks, and it's only getting better and better for me. And we also still have the Legion loot we're going to be giving away here tonight to one lucky channel member.
That's right.
TM said, "Be right back" in the private chat, just to save you guys the time of hitting it. Y'all want to touch on a little bit of comic books?
Hell yeah.
Sure.
I think we milked Ahsoka for everything we could tonight, which I'll be honest with you guys, I appreciate the conversation, because like I said, I don't keep up with Rebels and like the modern Star Wars comics. So there's a lot of stuff I feel like is just sitting out there that I haven't picked up and played with yet.
That's how I feel about DC Comics.
Let me tell you about some of the stuff that they did this week. They had the kickoff to the Batman Catwoman Gotham War, where we just wrapped up an event, really back-to-back events. We had Dark Crisis happen, then we jumped right into the Dawn of DC, and we had the Night Terrors event go down, and Batman's feeling every bit of it, and he pretty much fell out at the end of Night Terrors after the battle, and he was passed out for 8 weeks, it seems, and in that time that he was out, Catwoman has cleaned up Gotham more or less. She's went and got all these henchmen and all these petty criminals that are just trying to get by and have all these sympathetic stories to go with them, and she's training them how to only steal from the ultra rich to feed their family. And Batman is now awake, and he's getting caught up with his city and seeing what's going on. And he had a meeting. They had Catwoman called in the entire Bat family, no masks meeting. and she explained to them what they're doing, and shockingly, the entire family was like, "Yo, this we should really think about this. Like the city is so much safer, and people blah blah blah." And Batman being the only person that didn't have his head up his own ass, he's like, "Are y'all high? Stealing. It doesn't matter if you're taking from them or them. This is absolutely wrong." So you're seeing the start of division in the family, which I'm sure they're going to be sides that are drawn and taken, and we're about to get this big Batman Catwoman war. And it's not just any Batman; he's slightly unhinged. Chip Zdarsky's been showing us a very, very unhinged Batman, where his like deepest subconscious fail safes that he's placed inside of himself are like coming to the surface, back and forth with him. So it's about
We
to be.
we we might see Zura again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's this version of Batman called the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, which is just like a separate personality of himself, like this pure Batman that doesn't have a Bruce Wayne, just an autopilot, straight justice buster kind of guy. That if Bruce is compromised, that comes to the surface, and it's peaking. It wants out really bad in the face of all the stuff that's going on. But TM Nerdy wants to tell you about Incredible Hulk, I bet.
Yeah, it was all right this week. It was quick, and that I messaged you about it. It wasn't anything great, but it was still a series. I'm not dropping it for sure. It was still a really good issue. It's just not a lot happened. I felt like it went by pretty quick, but the art was fantastic in it. And we get a little bit of I forget her name, but we get a little bit of her and the Incredible Hulk kind of bonding at the end, and that. And I like the fact that it was kind of funny where Hulk was just like, "Oh, just give Banner a hard time, always give him a hard time." So I like that part. But
Nick Spine's art really was stellar in it. It was wildly beautiful to look at.
But other than that, it was really good. And is this an ongoing or is this a limit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the regular ongoing Hulk title. So I think this was good for like the first arc. You know, it's issue 3, and what they did, they're introducing us to the bigger plot, which is called the Age of Monsters. Now that the Green Door, like Immortal Hulk is a run that everyone's aware of. In that run, what they introduced to make him immortal was the concept of the Green Door. These Gamma characters have the ability to return back to the land of the living when they die. They're immortal. They go through this green door that takes them when they die to the place below all and back. But that door got closed at the end of Immortal Hulk. That's why they're no longer immortal. With the Hulk not being immortal, the monsters are now no longer afraid to come out. All these ancient deities of all different kinds are coming back to try to take their rightful place wherever it may be. And in this first 3 issues, what they do is show us a quick little story in and out of one of those monsters making that attempt through the lens of like this Country Hills cult kind of thing, trying to raise this demon. And in this issue, we see what happens when the Hulk's nearby and that happens. They accidentally try to sacrifice Banner to this beast, not knowing that he's the Hulk. And it was cool in issue 2 because Banner screaming for the Hulk to come out when someone's coming down with a sacrificial knife, and the Hulk's looking at him like, not yet. And the Hulk's so mad at him from the Starship Hulk crap that he allows Banner to get stabbed before he even comes out, kind of stuff. It's really cool. And they still play on that in this issue, like TM said, with this little girl who's kind of attached herself to this hitchhiker, this passerby, this Banner. He even tells this little girl, like, if you want to ride with me, you're going to have to give Banner a hard time when I'm not here. Like, he's so mad at Banner. I love that they're playing that up too. Well, what's one you want to hit on, man?
Well, I'll say Night Terrors for Wednesday, but
I'm good at this game.
Yeah, exactly. And this actually has two stories in it. We basically learn that Doomsday is in hell and he's trying to escape from hell. And uh, we have Kara, who has this dream that we find out has been pushed to her by the Martian Manhunter, because he connected with Doomsday back when Doomsday was when Doomsday was almost like part of the city of Metropolis almost, and so they fought him then. Um, but we find that he's trying to escape hell, and so um, basically what happens is a Martian Manhunter convinces all of the inhabitants of hell to basically band together their bodies, and the bodies ossify and become like bone almost, and then that's how they keep Doomsday from actually escaping hell. But we're promised that he will be returning at some point in Action Comics and Superman, so it's not done yet. And then the second story has a kind of a tweaked origin of Bloodwind, which, if you recall, way back in the Death of Superman, Bloodwind was kind of an identity of Martian Manhunter. We
With
see
the
the
stone.
exactly. We see the person Raphael Aker or Ars. I'm not sure exactly how to say
It
his
looked
last
like
name.
RC to me because of
Yeah,
Transformers.
yeah, okay. um, he was the one that helped Martian Manhunter defeat Doomsday back the last time, and so he is now actually in hell. And he is basically going through the circles of hell, like from Dante's Inferno. There are different circles of hell, and so he is going through the circles of hell, fighting demons. And he latches on to, because he was attached uh, to kinetic, not what I'm thinking of. Um,
Martian Manhunter.
yeah, he was
Mentally.
he was linked mentally to Martian Manhunter. He realizes, or he sees, that at one point Martian Manhunter took the form of Bloodwind, and so he takes the form of Bloodwind, and he basically becomes Hell's Superman. And so he is now, we're promised that we will see more of him too as we go forward. But two really good stories, both of them done by Dan Waters, who did the Arkham miniseries not too long ago, and has done some other
He
things
also did the
since then.
Detective Comics series for Night Terrors, which was some of the best in
Yep,
there. I love
yep.
the way they package this. Like, it's really like a cool concept, but the way that he packages the story, like he told the Doomsday story from the perspective of DC's Mephisto, more or less. The fallen sun himself is sitting there calling out, wanting someone to come down there and face Doomsday. He's not wanting to do it himself. If he does it and it doesn't work out, there's no stopping this guy from taking over his realm. So I thought that that was really, really interesting that even Dawn Supergirl in his final fight armor, like he's
Mhm.
going to face Judgment Day. The apocalypse is going to happen, and after the years of tribulation, he will have to fight you know who. And I like how they put that in there. And this is the armor he plans on doing it with. Then he gives it to Supergirl to go face Doomsday because he knows how dangerous it is. It's all just him playing to his own hand. But I thought that was a fantastic way of packaging and presenting the story through his lens. That was very unique.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
it was
really enjoyed this.
yeah.
And what he did was he played games because like the demons of hell were all on Doomsday's side. And that's what was giving him strength because they believed in him. That the whole belief that uh, it's believed that there is a hell. That's why this hell exists, and the belief with him and stuff. So when the demons realized that he tricked them, like the first fallen tricked Doomsday, they were like, okay, we're going back on your side. We're going to worship you now and believe in you more, and that put an axe in Doomsday's plan to get out.
I love how he packaged the Bloodwind story too. It starts off with Bloodwind walking just in his Raphael's normal clothes, like he's scared, thinking to himself, "I don't belong here," until a demon finds him and wants to torture him and drag him through the deeper into the levels of hell to torture him, just for him to reveal, like, yo, I'm packing the punch now. And he transforms in the way that this new Bloodwind 2.0 has like the chains on his wrists and the fangs and stuff to kind of make him look different than the previous one that came before. And it revealed to us that he's actually hunting these demons. He's presenting himself as this weak, scared person who doesn't belong here to drag the demons out to get him into the lower levels of hell. I'm like, yo, this dude's a savage. I thought that that was a cool little twist and everything. Just a quick story in and out, but I'm excited to see more with what they do with these characters after that. I
Definitely.
hope they give Dan Waters
This is
the
my
opportunity to do it.
This is my introduction to Bloodwind too, so it was kind of cool seeing. I'm not sure, like you said, 2.0, and I was like, oh, okay, so he's a character that existed before, and you said that it was Martian Manhunter taking up that form. Was it always kind of like that form, like with the cape and the chains and stuff? Because that
It
reminds
looks
me, it's
almost
like
exactly
DC's.
the same. except for the chains and everything. He had that white costume with the red, like, framing on his head and everything. So he looked almost exactly the same.
Nosh,
All right, so
did you read issue 3 yet, Nosh? Because Brother Deep comes and goes pretty quick. He was our first little mini arc cannon fodder. But the lady she's doing her own thing in her own comic. And the lady chasing him down is like working for the bigger deity that's going to be for the bigger story arc happening.
Bloodwind was in the Justice League International type run at the time, and he was in the Justice League, and that's when the whole death of Superman and everything, and funeral for a friend happened and everything, and it was just another identity that Martian Manhunter ended up taking.
And now this is a new character wielding the name and the costume. He was first introduced in Lazarus Planet one shot featuring Martian Manhunter. He was just a casual citizen that was affected by the Lazarus effect.
Fantastic issue too.
Right.
Yeah,
that was a great read.
Back into this, giving it some.
And he becomes Bloodwind because he's still connected to Martian Manhunter, or he had some of the memories of Martian Manhunter, and so he saw this character in his mind, and so he took on the character of Bloodwind.
When I first saw the character, I thought, because some like images of the cape remind me of Spawn, the chains remind me of Spawn, and the eyes glowing at the end remind me of Spawn. So I was like, okay, this is DC's like version of Spawn in a way now. So, and plus he's in hell. So
Andy,
it is just
I know you read something cool this week. It didn't necessarily come out this week.
No, I played Time Machine and got caught up on something really freaking cool that a community member sent my way because I missed it. That Bird City exclusive deluxe for 8 Billion Genies, a community member hit me up and said, "Hey, I got one to send your way." And I'm like, "Please don't. I appreciate it." I'm always one that like I want to be giving away stuff all the time and not necessarily receiving it because it's just kind of one of those things where it's an influx of stuff. But I greatly appreciated this from that person. And I sat down and I read it Saturday morning and I could not put it down. This was phenomenal.
What'd you think? I've read it. I know Paul read it.
I think this is excellent storytelling. And if you were going to pull this, I don't want to spoil it for anybody that's not read it. There was only one way to pull off this story in the timeline, and they nailed it. I think they did a fantastic job because there's a bit of time, not time travel, but what do you call it when they jump ahead?
Every issue we go from 8 hours to 8 days to 8 weeks to 8 months
to 8 months to 8 years to
was it
8
8
generations or 8 millennium or something like that. It's really freaking cool how they do this and how they wrap it up in 8 issues, and it's amazing storytelling in my opinion. And Ryan Brown, was it Ryan Brown?
Charles Soule.
Yeah, Ryan Brown's artwork is phenomenal in this and fits it really well. And Charles Soule's storytelling is to die for. And I think I'm really appreciative of receiving this and being able to. I could not put it down. I sat down, got a cup of coffee. Next thing I knew, it was lunchtime, and I was finishing the book already.
Yeah, I jumped in at issue 4 and I read off because they re-released like a pack. Like by the time issue 4 came out, you could get like the 3rd print of 1, the 2nd print of 2 and 3, and the A cover for 4. So that's how I did it, and I binge read all those. And I was ready for the next one. It was definitely creative. It was interesting. There's so many concepts to just having a genie that you wouldn't think about that they get into. And as far as like you were saying with the art, there's so much to look at. Like every page is like a Where's Waldo with just crazy stuff going on all around you. But it had some emotional beats as well, which it was definitely a well-rounded book. I enjoyed.
Yeah,
last issue just.
It ends beautifully.
It was crazy.
Well, yeah, it blows your mind on it's not character redemption, but some things where some characters made missteps. They were redeemed towards the end, and it was a phenomenal way to end that and keep it within 8 issues. And Charles does a fantastic job keeping on target, on pace, getting to the point, and wrapping up with 8 issues and within 8 issues or in 8 issues. And doesn't wander a whole lot. So it keeps the reader on point, connected, and engaged. Whereas some series like Berserker was supposed to be a 6-issue series that went to 12, and then it just kind of meanders, and you get this feeling of filler, and you get this feeling of boredom, and then you're like, why am I sticking it out for 12 issues if this
And
thing isn't stand?
delays.
And delays too.
Yeah, that big jump to shark was so bad.
Yeah.
That was a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
So burning through a couple real quick. I picked up Spider-Man India issue number 3 because this beautiful John Jang variant that they did for it. This was just a standard. I don't even know if it was a variant or not. It's a variant. But this was a direct market cover. I grabbed a few of those. Danny Ketch Ghost Rider wrapped up this week. This is issue number 4. Just a quick little mini series. It was fun. If you enjoy the 1990s run on Ghost Rider, that's what this is. It goes back and tells a story inside of that time era. I haven't read it yet, but Riddler wrapped up this week, and I haven't read it yet, but Power Rangers celebrated their 30th anniversary, if you can believe it, in an oversized $10 one-shot, pretty much a trade paperback with a bunch of cool stories in it. So haven't got to those yet, but I got to a lot of other stories. Much like Andy, I've been living in a time capsule these past couple of weeks, thanks to Image Comics and Mark Miller's big game, bringing in all of his Miller World properties into probably the most exciting read that I've read in a while. I managed to read through almost the entirety of Jupiter's Legacy. There's one more trade that they did well after the fact, but Jupiter's Circle and Jupiter's Legacy I knocked out, which if y'all have never read that, I cannot suggest this enough. So far out of all of Mark Miller stuff, this has been my favorite. It's just such a vast world, and it's shocking. It's heartbreaking. It just blows your mind countless times. It's just watching it's pretty much Kingdom Come, to be honest with you. Like, you have the golden age of heroes that came to save the world and straighten it out, and then the next generation comes behind them and absolutely trashes it. And it's up to somebody, some way, to try to straighten it out. And if it can ever be straightened out is a thing that they do differently in this. And it is absolutely crazy. And then the other one I picked up that Becker kept referring me to over and over was American Jesus. I got part 1 and 2. There's one more, the finale, that I have to buy. I have to find a copy of. But this is crazy too. And I can't really speak on it without spoiling something, because everything is a spoiler. But the premise behind it is, like, what if Christ comes back, like, in today, and what does it look like, and what does it mean, and what does it happen? And it gets into, like, the people that you would never know it, but, like, the government always, like, plans for everything, right? Like, there's that joke from the movie Minuseric Goats, like, we think the Russians are doing psychic research. Well, are we doing it? Yeah, we're doing it. Why are we doing it? Well, because we think the Russians are doing it. Like, you got to plan for everything. If someone, so there's going to be people who plan for the day that Christ comes back because they want to be able to use it for whatever means, and people that are planning against it. And then if Christ is coming back, that means there's a devil coming back. And it gets into all of that from, like, a very, very unique perspective. And it's absolutely wild.
The first American Jesus, DC Comics published that.
For real?
Yep.
Image owns it now.
Obviously, Mark Miller owns it, but yeah, it was the last thing that they published of Mark Miller.
I can see that. But it's also Jupiter's Legacy is a show that is on Netflix as well. That the show and the book hold 2 different paths. It shows characters, names, and premise alone, and it takes its own path. And American Jesus is a show that's on Netflix as well. 6 episodes in and out, and it's called The Chosen One, I believe. But most of the Mark Miller stuff is written, like, to be in and out. It's not meant to be ongoing. He's got a beginning, middle, and end planned out for it, which makes reading it really fun and really fast. I'm currently reading Kick-Ass number 2, or the second volume of that, which is, I believe, 5 issues. But yeah, what is going on, Fish Cat? Becker says, I love when Soul and Brown were promoting curse words. They got a custom van and took it on the road promoting the book on a cross-country pop-up tour in comic shop parking lots. Dude, that's pretty cool. That's super cool. Y'all got any other hits? That was pretty much my reach. I did pretty much tons of, like, back issue reading.
I'm, like, I've got literally 4 weeks worth of new comic book day books sitting here, not bagged and not boarded because I haven't finished reading them. I've still got the last issue of Saga because I'm still pissed off that they took another 2-month break.
Holy
And
crap!
I'm
How many issues have they gotten out since they restarted it?
10 or 11. They did 6 last year. 6. They came back. Well, we're back. They got 6 issues done in a year.
Is it living up to the quality and expectation that
The
you
first
held
arc, the first 6 books last year that came out, that first little arc didn't, in my opinion, but coming back into this next arc for this year, it's living up. But the problem is they're falling by the wayside and they're just taking too many breaks. And I don't understand after a 4, 5, 6 year hiatus how they come back, and they took 2 breaks last year. And now this year they took another 2 breaks, and it's like they're quickly losing people, in my opinion. Think a la The Last Ronin, who couldn't get their shit in gear and release 4, 5, or 6 books in a timely fashion. I don't know what's going on.
That'll kill a series. Delays will absolutely tank a series because people don't stick around to justify it.
People have stuck around that entire break because Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples kept in touch and told them that that was the plan. And now these breaks, these 2 or 3 month breaks, they're just like, oh, we're going on break. And they don't really add a lot of context. It just gets kind of irritating. So I haven't even read this because I'm kind of like irritated still.
Welcome to the world of being a Jeff Johns fan.
Say, although Justice League Society issue number 6 is supposed to be this week, right?
Yep.
With this great homage cover. Look at that.
It'll be on the on the shelves right next to Exo Man of War.
Yeah. One day. Yeah, Liam Sharp did come out and say that he's completely finished it. It is 100% done on his end. They're just waiting on Valiant to put it out.
Look at Beckerman's comment right there. Yeah. Yep. We get the ending to Why the Last Man. Yeah. Vaughn has said time and time again that he knows how the story is going to end. It's already mapped out in his head. It's already done. If he does not all have it down on paper in some form or shape or avenue, I'd be surprised. But he's known how this is going to end even before they took their long 4 or 5 year hiatus.
What was the first hiatus about? Why did they do that? Did it actually stop when they did that?
Fiona had a child, and they were figuring things out, and then we got into COVID and figuring COVID things out, and so it was a mix of world problems and some personal things where those that creator specifically wanted to navigate that in a fashion that she wanted to see. I think she did the stay-at-home mom thing for a long while.
Makes sense.
At least that's kind of my understanding.
You don't get that time back, that's for sure.
For sure. And I think that's why when they were communicating that and educating and telling everybody that the fandom stuck through it, and then everybody stuck through COVID for a couple of years, then they brought it back.
Well, I'm excited for the fans to have it. It's something that I have volume 1 that was A-okay to me that I read like 7 pages in and got distracted and haven't gotten back to yet. I got to like TV's having sex. I'm like, I'll get back to this.
It's not.
You would be so proud of me, Andy. I have more than 1 copy of issue number 1.
Oh, well,
you're getting on him.
Yeah, it's definitely not a series that's for everybody, but it certainly has its fandom. And I'm trying to see what the market's been doing with that. Skeptical. I try not to be skeptical, but the jury's out. 9.8s are still holding some value, which is funny. After everything that happened in the boom in the market, the fandom and the fans of Saga, you look at the value of Saga number 1 graded 9.8s, and there's not a massive spike during 2021 and 2022. There's an increase and a decrease, but they're still holding value, and there's nothing to speculate on that book at all whatsoever. It's phenomenal.
Y'all got anything else y'all want to hit on? Y'all want to give some stuff away?
That's right.
I don't have anything to give away.
Let's go ahead and give your stuff away.
I got news, but that's more for the end, right?
You hit it now.
Well, just the end. You're doing giveaways. So many other people are doing giveaways. Rob's got his subscriber push going on. and it's a really kind of
Yeah, he's got a
invigorating.
CGC ASM. What is it?
298 and the 299
299
he's giving away.
to
And
one
it's like,
lucky winner.
I really need to get off my keister, and I need to do a 2,000 subscriber giveaway, and I've got everything, I think almost everything sitting here. A lot of cool stuff. It's like a big prize package kind of deal.
After today, once we give away this giant stack of stuff here tonight, I'm going to start the 3K announcement because I've passed 3,000 subscribers recently, and I didn't want to start doing that with this happening because I'd suck at promoting stuff like that.
We got Comicx Curing Cancer coming up next month too, so there's a lot going on with that.
Yeah, there's a ton going on with that. I've got a giant bag of stuff over here for that already. And just keeping track of all that and everything. There's a lot of cool announcements coming that we'll start piecing together and making like the actual announcements for like the lineup and bigger things that are being participated in with it as well. We'll have some pro pieces and pro stuff in it this year.
I got a favor to ask, Mark.
We can try.
There's a lot of people that I see in the chat on a regular basis, but I'm starting to see some more people over here that are Legion members that I don't see on the regular, that I'm seeing that they've got channels. Is there any way that they can drop their links in there? I mean, if they're a member, can they drop links, or do they have to be a moderator?
Moderators.
Got any moderators in here tonight? Like Joseph Michaels, I don't have a link to his channel. I'm not subbed up over there, I bet you.
I don't know who's moderators, and I can't see Wrench's on StreamYard side.
Oh, that's right. Because once you do the membership there, you see the membership stuff, but you don't see the moderators.
Well, no, I think you would still. I don't know if it shows it on the StreamYard and if someone's a moderator or not. Let me check.
It shows starred comments from people using member chats.
Let's see if this person is. Yeah, I don't know who moderates my chat. I know there's a handful of them, but Austin LeMay's in there. Brother John's Comicx is in there.
Let's see if I'm.
Just drop a comment in there.
Well, you got to drop a link, because if I drop a comment, it's just going to show
just drop a comment in there. Just put any comment at all into the chat. For my sake. Because when that pops up over here on YouTube, I can actually.
Oh, and you can click on it.
Yeah, because you can. The easiest way to make someone a moderator is
there's Joe. Boom.
With that.
Is that Pornhub? Here's Joe's link. Oh, I'm not a moderator. Because if you're a moderator, it'll drop a link in the chat with a hyperlink. It'll be a hyperlink, so you can click right on it and go to it. But I am subscribing to Joseph right now, the Adventurous Joe, and everybody else should too.
Your comment didn't even come up on my side on YouTube.
I'm blocked. I'm somehow blocked. Esteban's got a channel too. Holy moly!
Yeah, I think everyone in here has a channel at this point. Austin LeMay has a channel with over 100 something subscribers.
It's like Austin and Pops have wrenches and they're moderators, but they're not subscribers. Or maybe they are. And the moderator.
Austin and Pops have the blue with the wrench and the loyalty badge next to their name.
Oh, okay. So it does show up. Okay.
But not on my StreamYard side. StreamYard side, it just shows them as channel members. Yeah, I have to pull up the chat on YouTube.
Yeah. That's why I always run two screens. Like when I'm live and I'm one screen and I've got the camera up with the live, and then I always have the live feed on YouTube up over there because I'll watch the chat through YouTube. And then that way, if I freeze, I can see it there first. So I'm not talking to a dead camera for an hour.
So your comment with just a didn't pop up on my YouTube on my phone, but your earlier comments did. And I just modded you. And I modded Digger Jim.
I just put something in there too if you want to.
Paul, I thought you'd been a moderator.
No.
I just don't think I added any moderators in a while. There's typically always at least a couple in the chat, though.
Moderator FAQ. There you go. See, now, there you go. There's Joe's channel link, and then it does a hyperlink, because if you're a moderator, it'll change it to a hyperlink. So that people... I miss the old days of YouTube
Just
whenever
click their face.
when you could just click the 3 buttons and say go to channel. And even before that, you didn't have to be a moderator to drop a hyperlink in a live chat. You could drop any hyperlink in a live chat, and that's why the bots were always bad, because they wanted you to click on the hyperlinks to the porns, the hyperspace links to the porn dimension.
See, I don't know what it is about mine. I can still click on anyone's face and go to their channel.
On your phone?
Yeah.
It might be something to do with the mobile app.
I can click on a face and go to channel. I do it on other people's stuff all the time too.
On the desktop, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that.
Well, you're running a laptop, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on a laptop. But I'm on StreamYard right now too. Let me go over to YouTube on the laptop. I'll see what it does.
There you go. So there's your show. There's the chat. Yeah, see, in mobile, it'll let you go. It'll let you click the person say go to channel, but on the web-based version. Oh no, it's back. It's back. It's there on the web-based too. It says go to channel. Ben Parker Comics.
Go to channel. Yeah, I guess they fixed it.
That's been gone for years, and now it's back.
Anytime you see somebody, you can always click on them, go to their thing.
Oh, I'm so talking about that on my weekly shows this week. Hypertension ones, Jesus Christ. Oh,
our desktop phone. On this week's episode of Three Cool Guys. What is going on, Scott? Hope you're doing good. All right, let's take a look at what's in the Legion loot this week. I got the wheel ready to go, but there's a lot of cool stuff. I feel like I put together a really cool prize pack. So everyone was just kind of like wanting to pick these up. And I heard one person say on a stream somewhere that my shop didn't have the foil ones. I'm like, I'm going to go grab a foil one and throw it in the Legion loot. So there's almost a facsimile. There's a reprint of ASM 300 foily. This Flash 800 foily. I like that they did the foil pieces on it. The whole thing's not foil, just the lightning.
I just read the synopsis for the new Flash book that's coming up, written by Cy Spurrier. I'm definitely going to be reading that.
Yeah, you want to add that one to the list, TM?
Yeah.
For sure. So I thought of Brother John with this one, but it Steelworks #1, and this is the John Bogdanovan. Is that how you say it?
Yes, it's an homage to his Man of Steel #1, Superman Man of Steel #1 that he did. An homage.
And then we got, this is actually straight from Rob Liefeld. This is Fantastic Four #7. It's his homager, and it's signed by Rob Liefeld, and I paid him to put the chisel remark on it, and that's actually in blacklight. So if you have like one of those blacklight setups or anything, this will do its magic. And everyone's still raving about Void Rivals, and I'm right there with them. So we have a Void Rivals #1, introduction to the Transformers in the new Energon universe. They're introduced via Jetfire. So we threw Jetfire's first appearance in there as well. So we got those in there. I keep saying we, but we are Legion. We lost John Romita Sr. recently, so we have classic giant size annual Amazing Spider-Man #21, featuring that beautiful Romita cover for the wedding issue with the friends and family there, and then the work friends. So both of those are going in there. And I always like to throw a trade paperback collection in there. And for this month, we went with Infinite Crisis 1 through 7. And what's so important about this is issue 5 is the first appearance of Blue Beetle. They just had the movie drop. And then issue 3 is the first appearance of Jaime Reyes. So you'll score both the key comic books for Blue Beetle and the entire set, because you need to read this book. It's one of the best events that's ever happened.
I need to read it, so I want to read this.
It's fire. And if you saw the movie, you'll understand why the first appearance of OMAC, Jack Kirby's character, is in here this month as well. And then, of course, Big Time Collectibles sponsors the channel and hooks us up books to throw in there. I think that I was told this is Lethal Protector #1, beautiful Miko Suion variant. Got some Turtles Power Ranger John Jang variant. Miko Deadpool 4 with that Hulk homage. It's really a Deadpool homage also. And then we have Marvel Voices Wakanda Forever with that UF4 homage by John Jang. That's a wicked, wicked cover. And then I know Paul appreciates this one. We have some Jim Lee goodness for Action Comics 1050. It was the 1 in 100, was it, Paul?
I think so. Yeah.
So BTC did a foil version of the 1 in 100 Jim Lee. Dope cover. And then Legal Burning sends some cool prints. So we've got the TMNT Power Ranger crossover to go with that other book. And there's a Big Hero 6 in there. So I'm like, yo, let's toss Big Hero 6 in there. One of the cooler cartoons they did, in my opinion. And then lastly, from 1981, we have Batman 341. Beautiful Jim Aparo cover in the very acceptable grade for a 40-plus-year-old book in a 9.4. Beautiful Batman cover there. So we did Marvel slab last month, do a DC slab this month. So all that going to one winner right here in just a second. Let me pull this wheel up.
Let's go. I'm
That's
gonna
a
win.
lot, man.
No, I'm not, but I'm hoping.
So yeah, that was brought to my attention that is a lot. But I get good deals on stuff. And for reference, like how far in advance I think about this stuff, y'all, the Infinite Crisis series, it's definitely gone up in price. I bought this from Black Friday last year. I bought this for 50% off of its value last year at my honey hole where the prices are already great. Now, since then, I have bought another set, and I also bought the Jim Lee and George Perez covers both when they put them on shelves when they released. So I have numerous ones of these, but I planned on having this in a giveaway and went on my little work break. I ran like hell to go there and back to pick that up Black Friday last year. So I shopped smart for these things and sit on a bunch of stuff for a long time and wait on the right time and place to do something with it. So it's just a good planning makes a good giveaway. Let's throw this on the screen here. So we got 63. That's a bad view. We get a better view. There we go. We got 63 people on the wheel for this week that are in the Legion tier as channel members. Big shout out, big thank you to the 80-something members total. And if you are in the Legion tier, your name's on the wheel. And I can't thank all y'all enough. Thank you to the subscribers, but the channel members make these kind of giveaways like this possible. TM stretching, getting ready to claim his award, it looks like. So let's spin this thing. I want to shuffle them till Paul tells me to stop.
Stop.
So keep in mind, Paul told me to stop. If you do not win, Paul told me to stop.
I'll blame Paul if I don't win.
There we go. Shop smart. Shop S smart.
This moderator thing is really, really tough. Become a moderator and suddenly get
Welcome
blamed
to your
for
new
everything.
responsibilities. Program 54 Comics is in the building.
Hey.
Oh, thank you, Esteban. That's an awesome giveaway this month, but Legion loot is always amazing. Can't be beat. I 100% agree, Pops. I 100% agree. Fucking Paul.
Well, if I had a dime for every time I heard that.
All right, let's spin this thing again. Thank you so much. Be sure to hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Help with the eternal battle against the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. I want to remind everyone that tomorrow, part 10 of my graded comic collection drops. And it should have been called the Heater episode because there's some bangers in it. Straight fire. Don't forget to leave the comment and stuff on the previous parts as well because we're giving away that CGC Nathan Zerdy Catwoman slab with that video series and all kinds of stuff to boot. So let's spin this. Enough yip yapping. Remember, if you don't win, it's Paul's fault. And the winner goes to the other Paul Rogers.
Oh, fuck you, Paul.
Local winner. Big shout out to Paul Rogers. That's awesome.
Not after you to that Paul, but to that Paul.
Hey, so
pick a Paul.
So Scott can just put the same comment all over again.
Yeah. That's awesome. Go for it, Kyle. I don't think it'll hyperlink, but yeah, Kyle, if you comment from your other channel, people can hit your logo and subscribe straight to it as well.
I definitely need to get Infinite Crisis. It's hard to find in trade right now for me, and I definitely want to pick it up in trade.
What is going on, Johnny Boy Comics? Always posting some fire stuff. So that's going to be it. That's all I have for tonight. Y'all got anything else you want to touch on? Anything you want to announce? What you got going on, Andy? I know you got some comic talk coming up, right?
Oh, dude. Tuesday night, Comic News Weekly with the crew, and we'll have an open rotating seat for anybody who wants to come. Mark, Paul, TM, anybody on a Tuesday night, 9 o'clock that wants to sit in. The Woodmeister, Brian Wood, Simpleman's Comics is taking an indefinite hiatus from the show while he focuses on his career and his family. So instead of like just finding one person to be there every week, we're just keeping an open seat and rotating whoever wants to come and hang out, so that it's we get to see other people and it's not a big commitment for anybody, so they don't have to tie up every Tuesday night for themselves for all winter long or whatever. Wednesday night's still New Comic Book Day, and I'm dropping shorts twice a day now, and they've been a lot of fun because I'm not focusing on like content that I think is going to get views at all. I'm focusing on shit I'm having fun with, and I might get 2 views, but it's a blast because the shorts are really easy to upload, and it's really high quality content or really high quality video from my phone. Excuse me. It's all card rips. Nice. And I have fun digging around for 90s tunes, and I get people, the funny thing is I get people commenting that I've never met before asking me what these tunes are. So a lot of these younger kids watching shorts don't know tunes from the 90s, man.
That makes sense. And ABX Comics and Games is my local LCS. They do not sponsor the channel. I shout them out of love.
Labor Day, not Memorial Day.
Yep. Gonna sleep in tomorrow, have some coffee. Gonna read Dr. Aphra. I got the omnibus, the omnibus that came out this year or maybe last fall for Dr. Aphra. I'm gonna read that over some coffee.
His colon crystals help him do that.
The colon Vibrant, yeah, dropping shits twice a day.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. TM, Between the Lines tomorrow. What time does it start? Whose channel are y'all doing it on?
My channel tomorrow, it'll be at 8:35 p.m. Eastern. So come have some fun. It's Cryo Prime is our guest, and the theme is Forgotten Cartoons. So if you want to draw from home, feel free to, and then send them to me on Instagram, TM_nerdy, and we'll show them off at the end of the show.
Esteban's throwing this in there. Dr. Aphra is the best Marvel Star Wars character. I don't think Comic Man Andy would argue that.
No, you should check out my Instagram and the piles of Dr. Aphra stuff that I've been posting on there.
Mm-hmm. Dude, there's a lot of people that have love for Dr. Aphra.
Dude, so just the last 2 weeks, first appearance, Dr. Aphra, Darth Vader 3, 9.8s have been selling for under 200 on eBay. I've seen 2 close in that 190 range. So after you pay for shipping, ipso facto, they're like $200 by the time you pay taxes and shipping or whatever.
Don't feel dumb.
Do you think that's because they don't see any kind of hope of it coming to live action, or people are just like,
that's the whole thing, is like she's such a great character and she's so beloved. It's like it's almost like the same thing with Marvel. Why they didn't fast track an X-Men or a Fantastic Four movie? Why hasn't Star Wars somehow gotten a live action Dr. Aphra?
So from Andor, the antiquities guy, the seller, somebody's got to dig all that shit up.
Right,
they're leaving little tidbits here and there that make me feel like it's going to happen sometime soon within the next 5 years. And this era of Star Wars that they're in, she fits into those timelines, if I remember correctly.
Well, she's Darth Vader era, so Empire era, right?
Yeah. So that she fits right into there. It's another badass character. Like, I can't buy all the damn 9.8s that are out there for sale for under $200. I can't afford it, but I keep wanting to buy another one here and another one there, and it's just a book I can't stop buying. I can't stop collecting that book.
Aggressively Relaxing is going now to buy one.
It was just a couple of hours ago. I almost put a bid on it, and I think it closed for like 198 or 196 or something like that. So we're starting to see that price. I didn't think it was going to go below 200. But at Heroes Con, I picked up a copy for 200 cash.
Heroes Con 2024, you going to be there?
Yeah, 2024 will be there.
Yeah, everyone is. Everyone who went last year, like, yo, this is what I've been missing.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to be there?
I'm going to try.
Jesus, he worked that out pretty good. This upcoming weekend is Baltimore, but I won't make Baltimore, unfortunately.
There he is. There's Kyle. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit the 3 dots or hit a little circle, go to his channel, give his new channel a subscribe there. Kyle's rocking 2 channels now.
Wow.
Yep, that click go to channel works phenomenally. It does. It's back. I swear. That's how the comic community is the way it is right now, or it is as large as it is, was because 4 or 5 years ago, that's all you had to do was click, go to channel, subscribe. So you would have weekly hangouts, nightly hangouts. The big hangouts were like Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, where everybody in the chats, all they did was subscribe back and forth to each other's. My English is terrible. That's all they did. They hung out, listened to comic book content, and subscribed to each other for a year or so back and forth before that went away. And then that was what really helped finish meshing together the comic book community on YouTube from the Google Hangout days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dragon Con.
Dragon Con is this weekend, and that's a con that I'll never go back to. I went the year before last just to go meet Jang and get a bunch of stuff signed. It was absolutely terrible. It's a crap show. It's like in pieces of multiple different buildings. You have to go stand in a long line to register at one, then walk 8 blocks and stand in a longer line to even go into another one. And it's just I don't know. It's like throwing crap at a wall and seeing what sticks. It's just not focused enough, if that makes sense. It's just too much little bit instead of just having any kind of focus or anything. And on top of that, I'm right there with Johnny. It's in Atlanta. Count me out. To get me to Atlanta, my wife had to buy me Journey tickets as a Christmas present. And ask anybody who's on here, I was bitching the entire time till I got back from the concert. Like I don't want to fucking go to see Journey in Atlanta. It's my all-time favorite band. I want to see them any chance I get, but you tell me they're in Atlanta, and that just takes the piss out of me. I'm like, ugh. But once I was there, perfectly fine. We parked the car, didn't have to drive it again until it was time to leave.
Maybe that's a moderator only thing, because I just went to a couple of different live streams on YouTube, and it's just report and block.
You shouldn't do either of those things.
Well, no, but I mean, like, then now I'm back on your channel.
Yeah, try it with your phone. It seems to work fine with the phone for me. The Catwoman slab giveaway that's tied to this one right here, this beautiful 9.8 Nathan Zerdy Catwoman 47 donated to the channel by Headquake Jr. This is tied to the My Graded comic collection videos. It's a series I'm doing that I drop on Mondays. Part 10 will be out tomorrow. If you're a channel member, it's already available to you. And once that has concluded, once that video series is over, the following Sunday, we'll give that slab away. That series is not done, though. Stay tuned. More to come. Went to downtown ATL once and was flicked off like 20 times. Dude, sorry, I don't know where I'm going.
It's no joke about the driving. I've driven through there, and all of a sudden it opens up to like 6, 7, 8 lanes, and they're all doing 90. In the corners, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go slide into a wall at this point.
Well, that's because you stopped believing, Esteban. You didn't follow the simple instructions. That's on you. But the frequency of like when me and Paul were riding through I was even asking Paul, I'm like, this doesn't drive you nuts? You're like, no, I'm just kind of used to it. Like we get off an exit, and next thing you know, we're in we come off an exit, we're in like the 6th lane to the left somehow, and we have to be all the way over to the next exit that's 20 feet away. Like, how did it put us over here? And they're like, what then? Paul's just like, you to do. And I'm like, yeah. How are we not dead? Like, how are we not dead? We just changed 12 lanes of traffic in 50 feet. We should be dead.
Yeah, I'm an excellent driver.
You are. Yeah. Okay, because I've seen part 10 of that series today. That's because you, sir, are a channel member and have early access to it. Stay tuned for next week, part 11. And the week after that, part 12.
Yeah.
Is that how you count?
Do you know how many parts it's going to be?
That's the big thing, is how many parts it's going to be. So part 10 just went up. I'm looking at least 3 more. I'm thinking 13, 14 max, depending on
a good baker's dozen.
Huh?
A good baker's dozen.
Yeah. definitely 13 for sure, because I've got 2 right here for sure, and then there's sporadic stuff that's not just sitting directly behind me that I can look at easy. I always believe, well, if you did, you wouldn't hate Journey. As you all know, I have called dibs on King of Atlanta when T.I. dies. And when my reign begins, I will look into this. Dude, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. Journey, hands down,
Nice.
Journey. Boston's got some bangers. Journey is a banger. Drops nothing but fire. Yeah. That's going to wrap up tonight, guys. I appreciate everyone hanging out again. Like, subscribe, comment, all those fantastic things. Be sure to check out the channel's merch store and consider joining the channel to support the channel even farther. Definitely goes a long way. I appreciate Andy, TM, Paul. Thank y'all so much for hopping on, hanging out. We'll do it again sometime soon. Till next time, we are Legion.